What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Just wanted to show you this set I did last week, double 20 kg half snatch. I did 103 reps in 10 minutes. I just forgot to upload it, to be honest, and talk a little bit about double half snatch. One of my favorite lifts, maybe my favorite lift. And what's a half snatch? Well, a snatch is like in Olympic weightlifting, like as you guys probably know, you bring the kettlebell up in one motion, so it doesn't go over the chest like in a clean and jerk, right, where we go to rack position and then overhead to fixation. No, we go up in one motion, and with a full snatch we drop it the same way we brought it up, right, with a like straight arm more or less, and swing it back. And with a half snatch we bring it back down over the chest, like into rack position, and then into the back swing. So it's only the up portion that's a snatch, and the downward, like the eccentric, is like in a clean and jerk, okay? And that's why it's called a half snatch. And why do we do it? Well, with one kettlebell you can easily do full snatch. Like you can do half snatch, some people do it. I personally don't train half snatch with one kettlebell, but it is a legit variation. But you can just as easily do full snatch, especially if your technique is somewhat decent. But with two kettlebells, as you imagine, like bringing two kettlebells, the combined weight down in one motion, there's like a lot of eccentric force you have to absorb, and you're going to be really limited in weight and also in the number of reps you're going to do if you just train double snatch, right? If you train full snatch with two kettlebells, because you're always going to be limited by the eccentric. So the solution to that is we do a half snatch. We like bring it up in one motion and lower it like in a long cycle. That's why we do double half snatch, and you shorten the lever on the eccentric and it just works perfectly. And why is the lift so great? Well, there are a couple of reasons. Number one is you can train real power with the double half snatch. Because with kettlebells, well, like some people say they don't build strength or whatever. Well, that's not true, we know that. But they are pretty light, right? So kettlebells overall are still pretty light. But with the double half snatch, it's so disadvantageous from a leverage perspective that the kettlebells, like the weight really becomes quite heavy. So you really need a full powerful triple extension to get those suckers overhead. Because like with single snatch, number one, you can leverage your body weight side to side, so that's going to like help you like get that thing up easier. That's number one. And also you're going to be limited by what you can hold with one arm, right? So with the half snatch, we distribute the load between two arms, so we can use more total load on average. Even the light set I did here with only 20s, that's 40 kg. Like try to snatch a 40 kg kettlebell 103 times, right? You're always going to be limited by your arm. And the number two thing is, because we have two of them, there's no rotation, there's no lateral weight shifting. So all there's left is to explode upwards and bring those things upwards. And if you compare it, for example, with a barbell, one of my favorite Olympic lift variations that I recommend for athletes is a hang power snatch, right? Where you don't pick it up from the floor, but you like go from the hang and you snatch it overhead, but you don't go all the way down into a squat. You only catch it in an athletic position, like a quarter squat. And it's like a great variation for athletes because there's no technical transition from like picking it up from the floor and how you transition to the power position. No, you start right in the hip and just accelerate and jump upwards, and then you don't have to drop into a full squat, which again takes away the technicality and increases the power demand. So we take away most of the technique requirements, and at the same time we actually need to express more power. Fantastic variation. And if you look at the double half snatch with kettlebells, it's basically the same motion. Yes, you get a little bit of momentum from the backswing, but that's basically the only difference, right? And Now, I weigh under 75, 80 kilograms. So even the light kettlebells, double 20s for me, it's over 50% of my body weight. Like that's a legit weight. Even if I had 40 kilograms on a barbell, that's like light, yes, but it's a legit training weight for power development if I did like a hang power snatch. And if you do 24s, 28s, 32s, that's 64 kilograms, like that's that you're going to feel that one. Even if you're very strong, it's going to take some power to bring those things up. And you don't need to swing a 100 kg kettlebell or whatever. No, you can just take regular sized kettlebells and build real power with them. So reason number one why it's awesome, power development. Reason number two is that it really builds a lot of muscle, and also specifically in the posterior chain. And those are basically like everything that's going to build your back and your glutes and your hamstrings is going to make you more yoked. It's science. Like, show me somebody who has like a strong row, a strong conventional deadlift, and I'm going to show you somebody who is like dense from a muscular standpoint. So if you're not used to it, it's, in my opinion, it's the best back building movement you can do with kettlebells. So it's going to really, if you're not used to it, you're going to feel it in your glutes, in your like hamstrings, and especially in your back, in your traps, etc. So great back builder and great muscle builder. It's reason number two why it's awesome. Reason number three is it builds your cardiovascular system. So you have a large range of motion and a relatively heavy weight, and you're going to do a lot of reps with it at a pretty high pace. So the oxygen demands are high and it's cyclical. So you can build your VO2 max. You're going to be breathing heavy, and you can be assured that it's going to help develop your endurance and your conditioning. And last but not least, when we talk about kettlebell sport, double half snatch is really a very interesting lift in terms of benefits, because, well, we have the classic lifts, and you have your jerk, right? You have long cycle, you have snatch, and those are called what we call the classic lifts. And then you have like other stuff like pentathlon, one arm cleans, one arm clean and jerk, etc., etc. And in my opinion, like, I'm maybe a bit of a purist when it comes to that stuff, but like the classics are really, like, in terms of benefits, unbeatable. But the double half snatch really, in my opinion, deserves a place right next to the classics. It's like the only, like, quote unquote modern lift that's on par with it. And not only that, it's the only lift that carries over to all the other lifts. So it is really unique in that regard. It carries over, even if it sounds weird, to jerk. Double half snatch is going to make your jerk better, because the motion of dropping into the under squat is very tricky with double half snatch to, like, catch it with clean fixation. Even people with good technique, you're going to see that it's not so easy. So when you go back to jerk, that part of dropping under and fixating the bells is going to be much more developed. It's basically like a ballistic stretch for your overhead range of motion. Also, the rack position is going to become more comfortable because, well, you spend a lot of time there. Basically, you're doing a lot of rack holds when you're doing a 10-minute set like I did here. So that's why it's, in my experience, it carries over to jerk, even if it doesn't look like it does. Number two, it carries over to long cycle. This is kind of obvious because, well, if you can snatch those things overhead, for one, like, the conditioning carries over, and secondly, like, just the acceleration pool, if you can double half snatch bells, it's going to feel really easy to clean them. So it carries over to long cycle, and I've experienced 2024 I did a lot of double half snatch, and then I tried some long cycle, and I had never really tried much long cycle before that. I was a like jerk biathlon guy, and I did with the 24s pretty quickly in 5 minutes 46 reps, And my technique, my clean technique was just horrendous. It was really, really bad. Like I cringe when I look at it now. But just the carryover from being good at double half snatch allowed me to like do a decent, put up decent long cycle numbers pretty quickly. And then it also carries over to snatch, because we talked about how the snatch is a little bit like the one arm snatch. Yes, it's more technical, but you can leverage your body weight. You can do that with the half snatch. And also the hand insertion has to be really precise. So grip strength, all of that stuff, when you develop it in double half snatch, it's going to carry over to your single arm snatch as well. And I experienced it too. I did mostly double half snatch in 2024, but at the same time I got to 100 reps per arm with the 24 in single snatch. So yeah, double half snatch, it's great. Do it, and see you guys next time.